Knowing when or how to water can be really confusing, let alone talking about top or bottom watering. In this video, I'm going to share the advantages, and I won't call them disadvantages, I'll call them watch outs for both top and bottom watering, which will hopefully help you next time when you come to water your plants. So let's get going. Let's start with top watering. It's probably the most common way that most people water, and it's got many benefits. Top watering is simply, as it says, we're watering our plants from the top. And a few benefits are that it's really quick and easy. Sometimes when I have a glass of water left that I don't want to chuck down the sink, I pass a plant and throw it over, and I know that plant is watered for another week or another few days, or depending on how dry it is. So it's really quick and easy. Another benefit is that it mimics the natural habitat that the plant is in. If you think about plants in their natural habitat, rainfall comes from the top, so it mimics that natural habitat that they are in to receive water from the top down. A third benefit for top watering is that top watering can flush away any buildup of salt and minerals that's formed inside your pot. If you've ever fertilized your plants with a fertilizer, there could be a buildup of minerals or salt, or even if you use tap water that's hard, if you live in a hard tap water area, there could be some buildup of hard water in your pots. So top watering really helps that soil to be flushed through from watering from the top and it all coming back out the bottom. So there are definite benefits of top watering. Let's talk about the watch outs for top watering. I've just watered this plant and there's a drainage hole in the bottom of the plastic pot, so the water would naturally run through and into the decorative pot. If the water, I don't know if you can see, but there's quite a lot of water left in the decorative pot. If this water is left, it could get stagnant. The plant will constantly sit in water, which means the roots, especially with succulents, euphorbia, cacti, they don't like a soggy soil. So if this plant continually sits in the pot with all this water, the roots can easily rot and the plant can die. So if you do top water your plants, make sure that you either remove the plant from the pot, pop it in something else and then water, or if you do leave it in the pot, to make sure that you chuck away any water that could accumulate and kill the roots of your plant. Another watch out for top watering is that some plants don't like their leaves to get wet. I know begonias from experience, their leaves don't like to get wet. They get all soggy and the leaves die and fall off. So if you do top water, make sure that you go right into the soil and avoid some of the leaves. If you have a begonia, and some other plants don't like their leaves getting wet, so make sure that you go right in there. Perhaps get a watering can that has quite a precise spout so you can get into the soil and avoid all the leaves getting wet. Another huge watch out for when you top water is to make sure that the top of the soil is not constantly soggy or moist. I'm going to get, which plant can I show you that I have had this problem with? So I'm going to get this pothos plant I've had this exact problem with. I have top watered, the top of the soil is quite soggy and wet, and especially during the summer months when I water quite a lot, it can get quite wet, and that has a temptation for fungus gnats to form. Fungus gnats are these little black flies that you may have seen flying around your plants, and they are really annoying. You may have found yourself going like this, trying to get rid of them, and they are attracted to damp soil. So if we top water, they attracted to the damp soil at the top. They multiply really quickly by laying eggs in the soil, and if we continuously water and top up that moist soil, the more fungus gnats it will attract. So a watch out for when you top water is to make sure that the top of your soil isn't constantly moist or wet or soggy, because that will just attract fungus gnats to lay eggs in the top part of your soil. Let's chat about bottom watering. Bottom watering is exactly what it says. We're watering our plants from the bottom. I'm going to use this plant that I've had fungus gnats, and I'm going to show you how to bottom water to try and keep that top layer of the soil dry, to try and eliminate and remove the fungus gnats naturally before trying any other remedy. So you can use a bowl, a tray, anything with depth, and add some water. You'll notice that the water here isn't completely clear. It's because I've added a natural fertilizer to feed my plant. It's the summer months, and fertilizer is really great to top your plant up with some extra nutrients. So you simply add some water to a bowl and add your plant. Just make sure that the pot the plant is in has some drainage holes at the bottom, because that's where the water will get sucked up from. If your plant doesn't have drainage holes, then obviously it can't suck the water from the bottom, but this pot does. And I'm just going to place that plant in and leave it for about 20 minutes so that the plant can suck up as much water as it wants from the bottom to give it a nice drink this week. The benefits of bottom watering are that you can't really overwater your plant. Unless you make the mistake that I made many years ago. I was really young, and I remember it was one of my first plants. I read about bottom watering, so I thought I'm going to bottom water my plant. I took a bowl, I took my plant, I left it in there, and I left it in there for weeks, thinking that I need to bottom water my plant constantly so that the plant can suck water up from the bottom, not thinking that the soil is going to get completely waterlogged. And ultimately what happened was the roots of my plant died. So that's one mistake I will never make again. It's a learning. For bottom watering, I'd maybe do it once a week for about 20 minutes. It's great because it leaves the top layer of the soil dry. So fungus gnats won't be attracted to the top layer of the soil because the water is completely sucked up from the bottom. So there are some benefits to bottom watering. It keeps the top layer of the soil dry, but also you can't really overwater because the water sucks up from the bottom the amount that it needs. Some of the watch outs for bottom watering is that it can take a while. If you don't have a lot of time to prepare your trays, pour some water in and place your plants in, leave it for about 20 minutes and take it all out again, it can take a bit of time. Another watch out is that it doesn't flush away the buildup of salt and minerals that might be accumulating in your pot. Because the plant is only sucking up water from the bottom, it doesn't get that natural mimic of the rainfall the plants get in their natural habitat from the top. So just another watch out: if you do bottom water, the salt and mineral buildup that could be in your soil won't be flushed away. If left in water for long periods of time, the roots of your plant can rot. Don't make the same mistake I made. If you forget about the plant and it's in there for about an hour, I don't think it will do much harm. But if you do what I did and left it there for weeks and keep topping the water up from the bottom, your plant will die. So just watch out not to leave it in there for days, because the soil will just get too soggy and the roots will get waterlogged and die. Another watch out for bottom watering is that it could make us believe that the plant is dry by feeling the top, and the top layer is dry, but actually the bottom and middle parts will be watered effectively because the plant sucked water up from the bottom, and where the roots are, the soil will be moist enough for the plant to thrive. So don't get caught out thinking that your plant is dry and you'd have to give it a top up of drink. If you bottom water for about 20 minutes or so, depending on how dry your plant is, it will be adequate enough to water your plant. So from my experience, both top and bottom watering can be beneficial when watering your plants. If you top water, make sure to throw away any excess water that might be forming or accumulating in your pot to avoid root rot. If you bottom water, make sure that you top water at least once a month to flush away any minerals or salt buildup that might be in your pot. So enjoy both and let me know how you get on. If you've got any questions, or if you have any other ways of watering your plants, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.